Gotta give us what we need. Hey!
I listen to KBLA and I love the commercials. I know what the commercials mean. I also, if I'm looking and trying to figure something out, I need something to talk to me that might hit me. And it happens on TV because, every time they show a sporting event, they got the pharmaceutical companies back to back to back telling people how to fix the sickness on the same stuff that they sell them. So we get it.
Yep, we get it too, Chuck D. And that's why at KBLA Talk 1580, we don't black down.
Drop it! Our freedom of speech is freedom of death. We got to fight the powers that be. Fight the power! Fight the power! I'm about to explode! Take off the slow! Then about to run over to make it go! Release the wiggle! Release the wiggle! Release the
Perfect Union on KBLA Talk 1580. I'm Dr. Nii-Quartelai Quartey, your host and Chief White House correspondent. I'm in touch, and so you be in touch. Follow me on all the social media platforms at Dr. Nii-Quartelai. Just type in Dr. Nii-Q, D-R-N-I-I-Q, and boom, bam, boom. There I am, fresh for you to follow. If you haven't already, download the KBLA app to listen to us live or on demand, or just tell Alexa, play KBLA Talk 1580. Also, be sure to subscribe to a More Perfect Union podcast. That way you'll never, ever, ever miss an episode. And listen, we have a really great opportunity to stretch out with a very special guest. I'll be telling you a little bit more about him in just a moment. But first things first, it's about that time. It's time for the good, bad, and ugly headlines of the day. Now, look, I'm the youngest of 5 boys, and for anybody out there that has a sibling or a relative where you may have a difference of opinion, it happens, right? But rarely do you see that sibling or that relative do what they can to try and sink your confirmation to become the next Secretary of Health and Human Services. The Washington Post is reporting that Caroline Kennedy warned senators of, quotes, predator RFK Jr. in a searing letter. That's right. Caroline Kennedy warned just today about RFK Jr., calling her cousin, now President Trump's nominee to lead the Department of Health and Human Services, a predator whose victims have included family members and the parents of sick children. In a letter obtained by the Washington Post and sent to lawmakers ahead of Kennedy's confirmation hearing, the former ambassador to Australia and Japan alleges that her cousin, quotes, addicted to attention and power, has given hypocritical advice by discouraging parents from vaccinating their children while vaccinating his own children. She alleged that his crusade against vaccination, quote unquote, has also served to enrich him. She said, quote, I have known Bobby my whole life. We grew up together. It's no surprise that he keeps birds of prey as pets because he himself is a predator. A spokeswoman for Robert F. Kennedy Jr. did not immediately respond to requests for comment. Kennedy is scheduled to face the Senate's Finance Committee on Wednesday and its Health, Education, Labor, and Pensions Committee on Thursday. Caroline Kennedy goes on to claim in her letter that through the strength of his personality, our family members followed Kennedy down the path of drug addiction. And so, yeah, Caroline Kennedy holding no punches there. We'll see if that makes a difference as he looks to get confirmed as the next Secretary of Health and Human Services. Moving along, we talked a little bit about Tabitha Brown yesterday. Everybody's talking about that video that went viral of her talking about understanding people's interest in wanting to boycott companies like Target because of their stepping back from their commitments to diversity, equity, and inclusion. but also encouraging people to hold steady and buy black. Well, black-owned brands are urging U.S. consumers not to boycott Target over their end of diversity efforts. Apparently, Tabitha Brown is not alone. Please don't boycott Target. That's the message from black founders and influencers to consumers about a backlash against the retailer's decision to end diversity, equity, and inclusion efforts. USA Today reporting that with the U.S. political climate trending right, the Minneapolis-based company announced the move on Friday, prompting calls for boycotts of its stores from labor advocacy group We Are Somebody and a Minneapolis city council member. The campaign would be aimed at hurting the company's sales and preventing Target from profiting from products by minority-owned companies. But black-owned companies and entrepreneurs urged against a boycott on Monday, saying that they would lose revenue and consumer exposure, which would harm the brands more than the retailer. So people are saying, hold up. You're going to harm my brand, right? You can still purchase these products directly through a lot of these websites if you feel very strongly about it. But building on previous inclusivity efforts, Target in 2022, they set a goal of making financial commitments of, get this, more than $2 billion to black-owned businesses by 2025, and to have more than 500 black-owned brands in its store. The company has said it was on track to meet its goals. And so that's how much money is at stake here. And so something for you to consider. I'm just saying. Moving along, Walmart shopping trip reveals what's becoming cheaper and cheaper. We know overall inflation has cooled for about 2 years here in the United States, but this means prices generally have been rising less. Some have even declined, but what does it look like when you go shopping? What's it looking like for y'all? I noticed that some products are still a little high. Some are not so high, right? It's uneven. So it kind of depends on what kind of consumer you are, but NPR has been tracking food prices, and they're reporting that bananas are down about 35.1%. Quaker Oats down 26.1%. You know, if you are a fan of Goya products, they're down about 12%. Ocean Spray down 11.6%. And so, you know, things are generally trending in the right direction. But, you know, look, it depends on what kind of consumer you are. But when we come forward, let me tell you something. If you're not already, you need to be consuming this content. I'm talking about Tyler Perry's Beauty in Black. I watched that over the holidays. It is something else. I'm waiting for the next season. You know, and you know, I typically don't watch just sort of like one episode at a time. I'm very bingey. I'm very bingey. So like when I commit to something, I will be up till like 3 o'clock in the morning watching episode after episode. And this was certainly the case with Tyler Perry's Beauty in Black. And so, you know, I'm over the moon excited to welcome Richard Lawson, who's a series regular on Tyler Perry's Beauty in Black. He's joining me right here in studio to talk about this and his body of work. If you think you know Richard Lawson, you really have no idea. He has had an incredible career, and we're here to chat with him and stretch out in our interest of leaning into all things sort of arts and culture. And so when we come forward, we'll be joined with Richard Lawson right here on A More Perfect Union.
You're listening to A More Perfect Union on KBLA Talk 1580. We've got a lot to talk about.
They can do anything they want to us. We might not be back. I might be in jail. I might be anywhere. But when I leave, you can remember I said with the last words on my lips, I am a revolutionary.
On Saturday, February 22nd, you're invited to A Night with the Panthers, a special fundraiser dedicated to supporting Black Panther veterans who now require assistance with essential needs such as medicine, food, and housing. These Black Panther veterans championed human rights, fed the hungry, educated the community, and stood as powerful symbols of resistance and resilience. Despite their incredible sacrifices, loving and serving the people did not come with retirement plans or financial security. So, now it's our time to honor their legacy and ensure that they are cared for with the dignity they deserve. You can help by attending and supporting A Night with the Panthers, Saturday, February 22nd, 6:30 p.m. to 10 p.m. at the Project 43 Team Post Center, 6841 Crenshaw Boulevard, Los Angeles. For more information, contact Black Panther Party Breakfast at gmail.com or call 707-554-2784. That's Black Panther Party Breakfast at gmail.com or call 707-554-2784. This is a community call to action from KBLA Talk 1580. At KBLA Talk 1580, we've got your black.
The following is not a contest and is a paid advertisement by Family Vacation Getaways with the purpose of soliciting sales of vacation ownership. For complete details, please visit fvgradio.com. If you want a complimentary stay in Cancun at a luxury resort, then Family Vacation Getaways may have your ticket to paradise. We're giving away a 5-day and 4-night stay to the first qualified 50 callers who can name an animal that lays eggs and is not a bird. An animal that lays eggs and is not a bird. Do you know it? Call now, 800-868-6431, 800-868-6431. You may also be eligible for an exciting bonus vacation to Orlando, Florida for just $398. And don't worry about anything ruining your plans. We can extend your travel up to 18 months. Name an animal that lays eggs and is not a bird, and you may be eligible to get a complimentary Cancun resort stay and an optional bonus vacation to Orlando for just $398. What are you waiting for? Call 800-868-6431. Again, call 800-868-6431 and give us your answer.
Lena Bloom for the Bail Project.
Imagine you're stuck in a jail cell and you can't afford bail and someone offers you a way out. Just plead guilty and you can go home and kiss your kids goodnight. What do you do? What thousands have. You plead guilty whether you are or not. Cash bail makes poverty a crime. That's why the Bail Project helps those who can't afford it while fighting to end cash bail, because freedom should be free.
Brought to you by the Ad Council.
My mom has decided to learn to paint, and she's good.
My dad's now into creative cuisine, and I've already put on 6 pounds.
Learning new things comes with age.
My mom, she started forgetting my name and what we're talking about.
Forgetting well-known things doesn't. Memory loss may be a sign of Alzheimer's disease. Early detection gives you and your loved one time to plan for the future. Learn the warning signs of Alzheimer's at 10signs.org. Brought to you by the Alzheimer's Association and the Ad Council.
We have no permanent friends or permanent enemies. Only permanent interests as we effort to build a more perfect union.
You're listening to A More Perfect Union on KBLA Talk 1580. I'm Dr. Nii-Quartelai Quartey, and it's always fun being in studio with folks who have been in the game a minute and have quite a bit to share with us. Richard Lawson, he's a series regular on Tyler Perry's Beauty in Black. That's right. You better clap it up. And also Carl Weber's hit BET series Black Hamptons. He's also recurring on Ms. Pat. He recently shot a lead in an independent feature film called Aftershock. A lot of people know Mr. Lawson for Colored Girls, for Poltergeist, for How Stella Got Her Groove Back. Mr. Lawson won 2 LA Drama Critics Awards, one for the play Streamers, and other for Ma Rainey's Black Bottom. In addition, he won an NAACP Image Award for his role on the TV soap opera All My Children. He played the father of his real-life daughter, Bianca Lawson, in Saved by the Bell, The New Class. And he's right here with us in studio. Welcome to the show, sir.
Thank you. Thank you so much. It's great to be here.
Well, it's great to have you here. And, you know, I think right away a lot of people, a lot of our leaders, learners, and listeners might think of you as like Beyonce's former stepdad, right?
Mm-hmm. Okay.
But there is so much more to your body of work. It is quite impressive. Talk to us about what has allowed you to have the kind of longevity in this business? Because this business is not for the faint of heart.
No, it's not. The thing that I have been blessed to have been connected with early on, I had a revelation in the very first production that I ever did on my birthday, March 7th, 1969, that while I was on stage, I had a revelation that this is what I was put on this earth to do. It was sort of like an epiphany from my higher power that said, you're here to do this. And from that moment to this moment, I've literally been on vacation because I've been doing the thing that I love. And I have done nothing else. Everything that I've ever done has been within the arts and on either directly in relationship to acting or in terms of teaching other actors and other professionals and artists and just people who are interested in terms of fulfilling their dreams. I kind of see myself as a dream weaver. So, my whole purpose in life is to help people to fulfill that which they see for themselves, or at least to take a look to see what it is that they truly want. And so I've been gifted with that from the beginning. I think anyone who finds, people come into business a lot, and my first question to someone who is serious is this a desire? Or is it something you can't live without? And so for me, it's something that I cannot live without. And when I can help people find that thing that they cannot live without, then they are connected to their passion and they're connected to their purpose.
I mean, I think this is really great advice. And just as you're sharing it, I'm thinking about, friends of mine in the arts. I'm thinking about some of my nieces and nephews who are much earlier in their career, and this idea of knowing whether or not it's a desire or something you can't live without. That's sage advice.
Well, if it's something you can't live without, then you're in for the marathon, because this is not a sprint. And as you were saying earlier, as someone. This is a tough business, and you have to develop the skin for it. You know what I mean? You have to understand that no matter what, if you're clear about your dream and you're clear about the GPS, GPS, interesting thing about GPS is that you're going to reroute, and you're going to reroute, and you're going to reroute, but you're still always moving towards that dream, that destination, that postulate that you have. You're moving towards it, so that no matter what change it is, you got to get there. And so some of the things that you need to develop along the way is radical acceptance. The ability to be able to process, pivot, and proceed. No matter what happens to you, process, pivot, and proceed. Because if you're proceeding and you have a destination, you can proceed because you're going to be going there. No matter what stops, no matter what obstacles, no matter what challenges you have, they're only slowdowns. They're not stops. They're not losses, they're lessons. And you're continually moving towards whatever that target is.
I like the idea, not losses, they're lessons. I like the idea of radical acceptance, but I'm sure that there are some of our leaders, learners, and listeners that are tapped in right now that are saying, okay, I hear you on radical acceptance, but talk to us about how you've handled rejection, because, the life of an artist is no crystal stair. There is a lot of no. You hear a lot of no.
Yeah.
And if we follow your analogy, it's that GPS redirecting you to yes, right? Yeah. But you hit a string of no's. That could have some effect on your self-esteem, on your confidence. And so talk to us about how you have overcome the rejection factor to build the body of work that you've built.
Well, this is a religious experience or show. You all, we're connected to a church, so I have to monitor what I truly say about. See, what is true for me is that no makes my hard.
Oh.
You understand that?
Oh, I hear you loud and clear.
No makes my ... hard. Meaning it turns me on. No has to be a motivator. People tell you no, you got to go. You can't lay down. You can't go and close the curtains and get into bed and bemoan your fate. It's like, okay, got you. You know what I mean? And because it's just a test. It's a test. The only people that's going to get through are the people that's going to challenge, to knock down. You come upon the China wall, and some people say, they turn around, they turn back.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I mean? They don't say, well, do I have any dynamite to blow through it? Do I have any shovels so I can dig under it? Do I have camels, elephants, like Hannibal and go around it? It's 3,000 miles. Okay, it's going to take us a minute, but we're going to go around it. Do I know any helicopter pilots? Can I pole vault over it? Do I have any hot air balloons? I'm going to find a way to get over, through, under, because there are no stops. There are no stops. No is not an option. I don't understand no. The only people who get to the Super Bowl are the people who have overcome the series of no's, the series of challenges.
Mm-hmm.
Life is about challenge. So radical acceptance is understanding the condition that you're in and how do I turn manure into fertilizer?
Mm-hmm.
How do I turn chicken shit into chicken salad? How do I turn that? Because it's about turning. It's about turning it into something. Black people, our history is turning waste into delicacy. Gumbo is just a series of throwaways that, the master, had. And so we ate the innards because they only ate the muscle. But the innards eventually became the delicacy.
Mm-hmm. Like oxtails.
Oxtails.
Oxtails down $14 a pound.
I'm telling you. You understand what I'm saying?
Right. I definitely hear what you're saying. And it sounds like so much of this advice, so many anecdotes people can find in your new book called The Artist Roadmap.
Yeah.
Mark your calendars, March 19th.
Yeah.
The Artist Roadmap comes out. Talk to us about what inspired you to write that book right now.
Well, I've been writing this book for 40 years, meaning the fact that the book is just a reflection on my entire experience as an artist. See, it's one thing to be an artist. So this book is really about the journey through show business. There's two words.
Mm-hmm.
The first book, there's two books. There's show, the book that is focusing on show, and the second book is focusing on business. You can be an accomplished artist, but if you don't know what to do with it and you don't have a bigger vision of it, and you're just waiting on somebody to call you and say, hey, we want you to be in this thing, or would you, we're thinking about you, or one of the people that we're considering for this thing, you are at effect to somebody else's, reality. You're waiting for someone to make you the okay for you to be in it. Whereas I believe that my career is what I create and Hollywood is plan B. And so therefore, let me become the accomplished actor, artist, whether it's acting, singing, dancing, writing, podcasting, whatever it is. I can be good at that. But how do I turn that into commerce? And so therefore, a lot of the people that I have taught over the years, in the beginning, I was a protege of Milton Cancellus, who was considered the preeminent acting teacher once Lee Strasberg died in the world. And he taught hundreds and hundreds of famous people who ultimately became famous. George Clooney, Michelle Pfeiffer, Patrick Swayze, Giovanni Ribisi, Doris Roberts, Jenna Elfman, Jim Carrey, on and on and on and on, right? And I was his protege. So I taught those classes when he was not teaching. He would sit in a chair for a scene, and then the rest of the evening I was teaching those classes. And I saw people like George Clooney, who was comes from an artist family, become a good actor. But then one of the things that he learned was the business of the business. And so if you look at his career now, and you see producer, writer, businessman, Casamigos, all the stuff that this world and universe that he's created, it's because that his artistry has expanded into creating commerce. You look at Taraji, and you look at just about anybody. Beyonce is the best of them all in terms of creating commerce.
I mean, as you say that, I'm wearing Beyonce's Renaissance Tour sweatshirt, at least one of them here. Because, anything better than a concert is merch.
Well, whenever she had a concert, she would have a book coming out. She would have a video or a film coming out. She would have merch. She would have the tour. And she would have an album. All those things would be playing off of one central event. So we had all these arrows pointing to different things. So she understands the business of the business. You understand? It's not just about her being a great singer or making a great record. And so therefore, that's what I teach, and that's what I'm interested in, is in terms of creating not only a substantial career, but a substantial undergirding, financial undergirding.
When we come forward, we're digging a little bit deeper into this substantial career that Richard Lawson has built. We're going to talk about his latest project with Tyler Perry and more. You are listening to and streaming A More Perfect Union on KBLA Talk 1580. More with Richard Lawson when we come forward.
She's a god, she's a hero, she survived all she been through.
If you're looking to be engaged, enlightened, and empowered about issues related to national politics, elections, identity, culture change, and social justice, you tuned into the right place. A More Perfect Union continues when we come forward.
Have we lost our way tonight? Have we lost our hope to sorrow?
I'm Tyreek Wynn with 4 Things You Should Know with BIN News. President Trump is ordering a freeze on federal aid. A White House internal memo reportedly said that the temporary pause will be in effect at 5 p.m. Eastern and will allow for agency programs to be reviewed. The White House is defending Trump's executive order that aims to limit birthright citizenship. In Tuesday's briefing, Press Secretary Caroline Leavitt said the administration is prepared to defend the action. The White House says President Trump is sending a loud and clear message on immigration. Press Secretary Caroline Leavitt highlighted the executive actions taken by Trump in his first week. The NFL's biggest game of the season features a pair of familiar faces. Jalen Hurts and the Eagles will be looking for revenge against quarterback Patrick Mahomes and the Chiefs in a Super Bowl 57 rematch. I'm Tyreek Wynn on the Black Information Network, your home for Black News First.
Burbank on the 5 southbound. That's the drive is slowing down from Alameda. You remain on the brakes on and off all the way to the 605. Northbound slowing out of East LA from just about Calzona. You're on the brakes ahead as you travel all the way back to Alameda in Burbank. More slowing ahead from Burbank Boulevard in stretches all the way to the 14. The 14 into Santa Clarita. It's a tough drive, heavy and slow all the way to Soledad Canyon Road. And Orange County on the 5 northbound in Irvine. Delays from the 133 to Harbor in Anaheim.
Del Taco's new Chipotle Chicken Burrito and Bean Rice and Cheese Burrito, packed with flavor, made with fresh ingredients, and found on Del's Real Deals menu. You heard that right. These burritos on a value meal with everything under $3. Look at Del Taco, hooking us up.
This is the KBLA Sports Minute with Ray Richardson.
A message to Lakers and Clippers Nation. Keep your radar up on the Jimmy Butler situation. The Miami Heat suspended Butler for the third time this month after he walked out of practice on Monday. The six-time NBA All-Star has been trying to get traded after making a trade demand on January 2nd. Butler wants to go to a contending team in the Western Conference. Because of his $49 million salary, it will take at least 3 teams, maybe 4, to make a trade work. The trade deadline is February 6th. LeBron has made it clear he is not impressed with the way the Lakers roster is constructed. He would welcome a move by the front office to improve the roster. The issue for the Lakers and Clippers is whether they would be willing to give up 2 or 3 players to get Butler. Miami GM Pat Riley has lowered his asking price for Butler in the last few days, which could make the Lakers and Clippers more interested. Stay tuned. No debates, no speculation, just the info you need. That's your KBLA Sports Minute. I'm Ray Richardson on KBLA Talk 1580.
This is for all the folks who appreciate follow-through. Here's a quick recap of the KBLA Talk 1580 2024 Climate Justice Campaign. More than 6.4 million Southern Californians viewed our climate justice billboards and bus shelters. Another 1.5 million people listened to and or downloaded our weekly conversations with African American climate experts. Our KBLA Climate Justice web portal had 2.8 million unique visitors. Thousands more attended our 7 climate justice community events. More than 9.3 million riders saw our climate care messaging on metro buses and trains. And 39 million Americans accessed our C-SPAN Climate Justice Symposium. All told, our 2024 Climate Justice Campaign exceeded 471 million total impressions. KBLA Talk 1580 thanks all of our 2024 Climate Justice partners: LADWP, Metro, Caltrans, Sierra Club, California Community Foundation, the California Endowment, LA City Council member Curran D. Price Jr., the California Wellness Foundation, MWD, AQMD, and the Port of Los Angeles. Caring about the climate, caring about the community, changing the conversation. We're KBLA Talk 1580.
If you're living with dry age-related macular degeneration or dry AMD, you may be at risk for developing geographic atrophy or GA. GA can be unpredictable and progress rapidly, leading to irreversible vision loss. Now there's something you can do to
slow it down and get it going slower.
Izervay is proven to slow GA progression.
Izervay gets GA going slower.
Izervay or avacincaptad pagel is a prescription eye injection used to treat GA. Don't take it if you have an infection or active swelling in or around your eye. Izervay can cause eye infection, retinal detachment, or increased risk of wet AMD. Izervay may temporarily increase eye pressure. Your vision may be impaired after an eye injection or exam. Don't delay. Ask your doctor about Izervay today.
Izervay gets GA going slower.
Visit Izervay.com. That's IZERVAY.com.
This is KBLA Talk 1580. Talk radio that's music to your ears. We're unapologetically progressive. KBLA Talk 1580.
Hit me!
National news of consequence, informed opinion,
and analysis beyond the headlines.
You're listening to A More Perfect Union on KBLA Talk 1580.
You are listening to and streaming A More Perfect Union on KBLA Talk 1580. I'm Dr. Nii-Quartelai Quartey, and really delighted to be here in studio with Richard Lawson. You've got to be hiding under a rock if you haven't seen Tyler Perry's Beauty in Black. I binged the whole thing.
You did? Oh my God.
I did. I did it over 2 nights.
Wow.
But the final night, it was like 3:00 in the morning. I'm like, this is a problem, right?
Yeah.
But it was so good. It was so good. It was so interesting. The character development and your character.
Wow.
Your character is a bad.
Yeah, no, he bad. He bad. He just loved so deeply.
Yeah.
He loved so deeply, and the idea that his own family could have done this and then is hiding it is it makes him crazy. Yeah, I see. I think he was temporarily insane, and and then what's to come, what is coming. I wish I could tell you, but it's wild.
So when does the next season come out?
Well, the next half of the first season comes out in March. So we shot 16.
Okay.
And so they showed 8. And then the next 8 starts in March. I don't know the date in March. Just quiet as it's kept, I think it might be March 13th. That's what has been written. Now, Netflix didn't say this. This was already, you can find this published. So I'm not, divulging any secrets.
Yeah.
But so it's in March sometime. And so the next 8 comes out, and then we're about to start shooting the second season now. And so they'll probably repeat the same thing. So in October, the first part of the second season will come out.
Well, if you are looking for extra,
yeah,
I'm go ahead and raise my hand there. But you're so busy. It's not just Tyler Perry's Beauty in Black, but also Carl Weber's hit BET series Black Hamptons.
Yeah.
Now, I interviewed Yvette Nicole Brown a few weeks ago, who is on that series, but the one that's based in New Orleans.
Yeah,
there's a relationship between the
Kingdom,
Hamptons.
The Kingdom series in New Orleans.
Yes.
There's another show. Carl has another show that airs here, and then that's a new show. But Carl's creating his own world, and the Black Hamptons was on BET Plus, and so it seems like there's a change in hierarchy. So they're still trying to see when this next season is going to begin. But a lot of people are just waiting for it because it was very popular.
Very popular, very popular. Now I haven't seen that one, but if your character in Carl Weber's Black Hamptons is in the family of the character you created for Beauty in Black, then they're both a must.
Listen, it's so they're parallel. Those characters are parallel because he's another powerful guy on Black Hamptons that was kept in jail. His wife kept him in jail and kept delaying him getting out because she was trying to wrest the power. And so he finally got out. Now the question is, what's going to happen between these two forces of nature now who happen to be married, and they are afraid for her life. So we'll see what happens with that.
What is it about these Black male characters that you saw on the page and were like, hey, we can't miss this in bringing these characters to life? Because, Black men, we have a certain lived experience on this planet. And I think some of the nuances in terms of how we move through the world sometimes get lost. Sometimes they get shrunk, condensed when it comes to watching characters on TV, on the silver screen. And so talk to us about the magic or the sort of secret sauce that makes each one of these Black male characters all the more memorable.
Well, interesting. So, we were talking about how long I've been in the business. So 1969, when I came into the business, that was during the blaxploitation era. And so, I was in films like Scream, Blackula Scream. I starred in a film called Black Fist. Sugar Hill, and we saw all of those other films of these characters that were written mostly by white people, and it was their idea of who Black men were. And so therefore, so the world saw us in a very limited kind of way, in a stereotypical kind of way. Cut to where we are now. And if you look at Netflix and you look at Amazon and you look at some of these things and you see a plethora of Black product now the representation of the types of men, the freedom, the wealth that people are experiencing, the power that people are experiencing, the storytelling by Black people for Black people. Like you go to Tyler Perry's studio, you see 200 people working behind the scenes, 180 of them are Black people. Never before you were trying to find one back in the day. Now you see a white person, and now they're the sort of odd thing out. So the characters and the types of characters have expanded, have changed. They're not limited. It's it only has to do with the writer's imagination and the showrunners who can create these worlds, like Carl Weber's world, and like Tyler's world. That you see the range of men. You see poor, medium, middle class, Black men, rich men, people with power, people seeking power, people experiencing greed, whereas before those things were all from someone else's imagination. For me, what is enjoyable, back in the early days, the leading man roles were boring because they were flawless. They didn't have any idiosyncrasies. They were just handsome men who showed up at the door to take the girl out. And it was like dull, boring, uninteresting.
They didn't have no swag.
There was no swag, you know what I mean? But and I always tried to dirty those characters up. I always tried to create a limp or a lisp or something that was imperfect about them, And so today the characters, I have 4 really interesting characters between, and we didn't talk about Divorce in the Black, which was on Amazon, which was the #1 show on Amazon for a couple of weeks. And I played a loving father, like a very loving father, husband, preacher. Debbie Morgan was my wife. And it was a wonderful, strong character. You look at the Black Hamptons, strong, powerful man. You look at, Beauty in Black, strong, powerful, willful, dangerous man. And then I have another character coming out in Aftershock, which is based upon a true story, Sean Bell, who was shot at 50 times, if you remember that.
I do.
Right? So that's his story told through his wife's eyes. And I play Reverend Al Sharpton.
Whoa.
Yeah, and so, I'm going to show you.
You're playing Reverend Al?
This is going to blow your mind. This is going to blow your mind,
This is something else. My mind is already blown. and let me just say, this is part of the beauty of what we're doing here at KBLA Talk 1580. Folks have tagged us having seen billboards around town with Tavis and Dr. West and Jesse Jackson Jr., D.L. Hughley, Zoe Williams, and myself.
Right.
With, big billboards saying, well, why talk about Black men when you can talk with Black men?
Yes.
Especially coming off of this election where, folks were acting like Black men were aliens.
Right.
Right? And folks were so quick to run on this narrative that, Black men are becoming pretty Trumpy, right? And it's conversations like this that hopefully help people to see us as more layered, more dynamic.
Right.
And if you will indulge us, we want to keep you here one more segment with us. Right. You are listening to A More Perfect Union on KBLA Talk 1580, and we're in conversation with the one and only Richard Lawson.
Right.
Be sure to go out there and check out Tyler Perry's Beauty in Black on Netflix. Also, Carl Weber's hit BET series Black Hamptons. That's where you'll see Richard Lawson. And then Aftershock. Which is going to be where?
It's going to, it doesn't have a network yet, but, it's a hell of a, the top one is me and Al.
Okay. So I'm looking at him in the makeup chair, getting transformed into Reverend Al Sharpton. I don't know the difference. That's all I'm going to say. More with Richard Lawson when we come forward. You're listening to A More Perfect Union on KBLA Talk 1580.
Yeah.
Striving to make America a nation as good as its promise. This is A More Perfect Union on KBLA Talk 1580. We've got a lot to talk about.
I feel so alone.
I'm embarrassed to talk about it.
How can I help my kid if I can't help myself?
I can't remember when I wasn't stressed.
I don't like it.
Inside.
When you feel overwhelmed by your thoughts and emotions, it's okay to get help. You are not alone. CalHope is here for you with free, safe, and confidential mental health resources for youth, young adults, families, and you. Find support now at calhope.org.
Hear that? That's the sound of your life. Perfectly imperfect. Beating in rhythm to the world you've created. But every time you drive after drinking, the music gets drowned out. Your life sounds pretty great. Don't let a buzz ruin it. Buzz driving is drunk driving. Don't drive buzzed. A message from NHTSA and the Ad Council.
This is the story of the one who, as a maintenance specialist for a historic high-rise, knows that vintage charm historically needs constant attention. Which is why, when it's time to upgrade turn-of-the-century mechanicals, they turn to Grainger. With easy access to 1 million-plus products and the scale to deliver when and where you need them, the right tools and supplies are never far away. So the one can keep that vintage building running like new. Call, click Grainger.com, or just stop by. Grainger, for the ones who get it done.
You say you'd never give in to a meltdown and never fill your feed with kid photos. You say you'd never put a pacifier in your mouth to clean it and never let them run wild through the grocery store. So when you say you'd never let them get into a car without you there, know it can happen. 1 in 4 hot car deaths happen when a kid gets into an unlocked car and can't get out. Never happens. Before you leave the car, always stop, look, lock. Brought to you by NHTSA and the Ad Council.
KBLA Talk 1580. We've got a lot to talk about.
KBLA Talk 1580, connecting you with services and solutions. The Los Angeles Regional Food Bank is on a mission to fight hunger and provide nutritious food to those in need across our community. They partner with federal, state, and local programs advocating for better policies and funding for critical hunger relief programs like Cal Fresh, the Emergency Food Assistance Program, and the Child and Adult Care Food Program. The food bank works with coalitions and local representatives to make sure hunger is addressed in every district of LA County. They also run nutrition education campaigns, raise hunger awareness, and source nutritious food for distribution, all while supporting regulations that allow food pantries to operate safely. Want to help? Visit lafoodbank.org or call 323-234-3030 to volunteer or find a food bank near you. Together, we can ensure that no one goes hungry in Los Angeles County. This is a community call to action from KBLA Talk 1580.
Notable journalists, industry leaders, lawmakers, change makers, tastemakers, and you, working to build a more perfect union on KBLA Talk 1580.
I'm having too much fun here. Having too much fun in studio with Richard Lawson, who is just a pioneer in so many ways and so many incredible stories that you have to share in your life and career. I want to remind people to mark your calendars and pick up The Artist Roadmap. It's his book coming out on March 19th. And if you want to see him even sooner than that, check out Tyler Perry's Beauty in Black on Netflix. I really enjoyed it, and I dare you to not binge on it. Also, Carl Weber's hit BET series Black Hamptons. And be on the lookout for an independent feature called Aftershock, where he's playing Reverend Al Sharpton. It's a story of Sean Bell. He's keeping his memory alive in that really special way. Yeah. During the break, we were talking a little bit about longevity.
Yes.
And as Black men, we know that there are certain challenges that we have to face when it comes to our longevity. And our longevity, not just from the neck down, but the neck up. And so talk to us about what regimen you've adopted in recent years that has you looking so slim and trim.
Yeah.
Right?
Thank you.
More pepper than salt. I wish I could say the same.
Yeah. And hair at 78. I'll be 78 March 7th. But I don't know what that is. I don't, the path that I was going, then I was feeling 70-ish.
Mm-hmm.
I don't feel none of that now because I really am I work out twice a day. I get up at 7 and I walk straight uphill, and I get 3 miles in, which is equivalent to 5 because it's a steep incline. And then I come home or I do the Peloton or I'll run the stairs or I'll do some cardio. And then I work out with a trainer because I'm trying to. You remember that Burt Reynolds centerfold?
Not the Burt Reynolds centerfold.
I'm not gonna do that, but I'm gonna do something where it's like, dang, wait, hold up, how old is this dude? Because mental health, physical health, spiritual health. They go together.
Mm-hmm.
And you have to keep your body together to defy gravity. I'm trying to defy gravity. Gravity's going to take you down.
Mm-hmm.
And you'll lose your hair, your skin is going to change, your attitude is going to change, and you're going to lose your gusto. You're going to lose the sense of desire and passion. And I don't want to lose that, man. And I want to spread that, and I want to share it, and I want to help other people go get it, And it starts with having your mind right, and it starts with having things that you still want to accomplish. I want to help people. I'm a giver. I'm a service. I'm of service. I've been of service my entire life. My mother took care of emotionally challenged people. She had 16 people. Emotionally challenged, and we would take them to restaurants, and the restaurant would clear, because but that's who she was, and I think I got that from her, and so I'm about trying to help folk. I'm trying about motivating folk, giving folk a reason to know that it ain't over. Dreams don't have expiration dates, and I want to help people understand that you can still accomplish anything that you want to do, upright, strong, willful, and change your world. Stay away from negative people. Stay away from negative people.
Negative people. Absolutely, stay away from negative people. But what do you eat? Because at 78, you don't look 78 years old. You don't feel 78 years old.
No,
you rolled up in here, and it looked like the Swag Express had come into KBLA.
Well, I juice. I'm in the kitchen. As a kid, I grew up, I had to take care of my mother and my sister. So I was a surrogate husband, a surrogate father, a single mother who worked 16 hours a day. So I had to take care of the house. So I knew how to do that. I cooked then. Then I stopped cooking, in terms of, but now I'm in the kitchen. I'm juicing. I juice a bunch of stuff and then I freeze it. And so that I have a supply. I'm cooking a lot of protein. I call it my concoction, which is, salmon and eggs and sweet kale salad, where it's cabbage and kale and this and that. And so I'm eating as clean as I possibly can. I drink like a gallon of water a day. I try to eat 6 small meals if I can, but that's hard to stay on that. But I've changed my diet. I'm much more conscious. I'm considering going a vegan, a plant-based diet. I'm still trying to play with that, but health is your first wealth.
You and me both. That plant-based diet. It sounds like a great idea, but for me, it just doesn't feel very practical. As somebody that is toggling back and forth between D.C. and L.A.,
right.
You mess around, you get in the airport too late, right?
Yeah.
You're going to be real hungry because there aren't a lot of plant-based options in a lot of places.
No.
Richard, in our remaining minutes, I want to give you an opportunity to share with our leaders, learners, and listeners, how are you managing your media diet? We've talked about managing your health from the neck up and neck down.
Yeah.
A lot of people are feeling inundated with the news, given the transition of power in Washington, given the LA wildfires here.
Yeah.
How are you managing your media diet?
Well, that is very interesting because, it is really addictive to pick up this phone and to just get caught up and get lost. The one thing is that, what am I interested in? What are the things that I want to do and what I want to put out in the world, which is certainly, I created something called Third Act Solutions. So I want to give people solutions to changing their mind, their body, and their soul. So I tend to look for that kind of stuff, and I stay away from, when I'm anything that comes up, it's like I don't need to put that in my psyche.
Mm-hmm.
I don't need negativity in my psyche. I don't need dark people in my psyche. I tend towards the positive, the spiritual things, the affirmations, the interesting information that I can use and that can pass on. And it takes discipline because you can be on this 10, 12 hours a day. It can be, everything is an asset and a liability. And I try to find that part of the asset that I can pass on. What is going to enrich someone else's life? My own first. I certainly believe in I'm that person. I know very clearly I need to put my mask on first.
Well, thank you for enriching our lives with
sir.
your art.
Thank you.
Richard Lawson, they don't make them like you. They don't make them like you. I told y'all the Swag Express pulled up to KBLA Talk 1580. Thank you so much for being here. We're going to have to leave it here. My thanks to the entire village that helps us produce a more perfect union each and every day. Our executive producer, Tavis Smiley. Our sound engineer, Andy. Our show producers, Faraji and Kim. And, of course, all of you, our leaders, learners, and listeners. Remember, don't panic. Organize. Do what you can from where you are with what you have.
Yes, sir.
I'm Dr. Nii-Quartelai Quartey, and you've been listening to and streaming A More Perfect Union on KBLA Talk 1580.
KBLA 1580 Santa Monica.
I'm Tyreek Wynn with 4 Things You Should Know with BIN News. President Trump is ordering a freeze on federal aid. A White House internal memo reportedly said that the temporary pause will be in effect at 5 p.m. Eastern and will allow for agency programs to be reviewed. The White House is defending Trump's executive order that aims to limit birthright citizenship. In Tuesday's briefing, Press Secretary Caroline Leavitt said the administration is prepared to defend the action. The White House says President Trump is sending a loud and clear message on immigration. Press Secretary Caroline Leavitt highlighted the executive actions taken by Trump in his first week. The NFL's biggest game of the season features a pair of familiar faces, Jalen Hurts and